When my daughter told me she was getting married, I sat alone in my late husband's dusty old study, staring at the envelope that had waited like a coiled snake in the back of a locked drawer no one dared open. An envelope that carried the numbers and signatures that could turn every forced grin at our family dinners into bared teeth and snarling hunger when they realized the $33 million they'd always circled like vultures would never be theirs to pick clean. And as I traced my finger over the brittle paper, I thought of every night I lay awake beside a man whose heartbeat was my shield against the world, the same man who made me promise with trembling lips that when he was gone, I'd guard what he built like a fortress around our daughter's name, because he knew better than anyone that the same blood sitting across our table would one day come knocking with sugar-coated threats, ready to devour his girl's soft dreams and my tired bones. But on the day she floated down that church aisle in white lace and trembling hope, her smile brighter than the chandeliers above her head, I stood there with a mouth full of secrets and a throat full of fire, letting the world think I was nothing more than a grieving widow who had finally done her duty, wearing pearls older than her husband's promises, hands folded like a woman ready to fade, because sometimes the sharpest knife you can hold is silence. Sometimes the loudest roar is the hush you carry in your chest while everyone leans closer, thinking you're too tired to stand guard. So I watched him, the man who gripped her fingers like they were the keys to his prison of mediocrity, who kissed her knuckles with greedy eyes already counting dollars behind her back, who laughed too loud at the reception while his mother hovered near the champagne table like a wolf dressed in roses, her sharp smile cutting through every toast, and I let them think I was blind. I let them think I'd sign checks and transfer deeds and vanish. Like all the fairy tale mothers who know their place, who bow out when the young bride floats away in a car covered in tin cans and forever promises. But I am not a fairy tale mother. I am the storm they pray never comes, the locked door they pretend doesn't exist until their fists break against it. And when my daughter called me less than a year later, her voice so small it felt like glass cracking inside my ear, whispering through tears from her bathroom floor that her fairy tale had grown fangs, that the gentle hand she thought would hold her heart had wrapped around her throat instead, that the perfume staining his collar smelled nothing like hers. I pulled that envelope from my desk drawer like it was a heartbeat I'd kept alive just for this moment, pressed it to my chest, and felt my husband's ghost sigh through my bones, telling me it was time to remind them all that we were never helpless, never soft, never the ones who forget where the bodies are buried, and who holds the shovel. And when she came home with her brave smile stitched over bruises, she tried to hide behind makeup and long sleeves. When she curled up in my lap like the little girl who used to sneak cookies from the jar and swear she hadn't, we sat in that same study at 3 a.m. with the wind rattling the old windows and my husband's laughter echoing off the walls, and I told her everything, every number tucked away on islands we'll never see, every lawyer who owes me favors they pray I never call in, every investigator who sat in smoky cars taking pictures of her husband's Thursday night lies, every receipt for hotel rooms that reeked of betrayal and desperation, every photograph that turned my daughter's soft tears into sharpened steel, the same steel I tasted the night her father died and his brothers showed up with fake condolences and hungry eyes, asking about the will before the undertaker had even closed his casket. So we plotted. Two women they thought were born to be soft, spinning a web so precise it would choke the breath from every liar who dared touch what we protect. And when we pulled the strings, when we froze his cards and flipped the mortgage back to our name, when we locked every exit with signatures he'd never untangle, when the wolves realized they'd been circling a fire they couldn't contain, he stormed through my front door in a suit too expensive for a man who never earned a penny worth respect, his voice trembling with threats he thought could shake me, his fists pounding on walls that have held stronger men. But I stood there on my porch, where I buried every promise my husband left behind, not in dirt, but in the marrow of my bones, and I told that trembling boy in his shiny shoes and empty threats that my daughter is not his trophy, that my silence was never permission, that my love is not a leash, but a loaded gun aimed at the head of every man who thinks a ring means ownership, and when he sank to his knees, begging her to forgive him, The girl who once walked down that aisle like she was stepping into forever stood taller than I'd ever seen her, her shoulders squared with the ghosts of every woman who learned too late that soft hearts don't mean soft fists, telling him she'd see him in court. Watch him crawl back to the nothing he came from. Watch him explain to his mother why the roses died and the wolves starve at my door, and when he slammed my door for the last time, when his engine sputtered down my driveway like a dying animal, we sat on that same porch where my husband taught her to ride her first bicycle, where I pressed Band-Aids to scrape knees and whispered that monsters never win if you know where they sleep, and we watched the stars blink overhead like silent witnesses, mother and daughter with no more secrets, no more soft lies. Just the hum of crickets and the rustle of old trees guarding a house that is no longer a graveyard for dreams, but a fortress for storms. And if you're sitting there thinking this is just a bedtime story for broken women, let me tell you this. Every single day there is a mother somewhere holding secrets like loaded guns for the day her child whispers for help. Every single day there is a daughter somewhere learning that forever can wear a mask that cracks when no one is looking. And if you've ever hidden bruises under sleeves, ever choked on your own silence because the world told you it was polite, if you've ever laid awake wondering if the woman in the mirror will ever roar again, know this. We are not alone. We are not weak. We are the storm they pray never comes. We are the locked door they'll break their fists against. And if you believe even for a second that the world will never change, remember, we are the ones who change it when they least expect. So share this with every mother who thinks she's too tired to fight, every daughter who thinks she has to stay small to survive, every sister who thinks her bruises make her less. And if you want more truths they'll never show you on TV, more secrets that flicker like matches in the dark corners they pray you never find, then hit that subscribe button right now, light up that bell like it's the signal fire they fear, because next week I'll be right here waiting to tell you another story they wish you'd never hear. And together we'll remind this world that we are never silent, never soft, never owned. Not anymore.